Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jeff Ishii. This is Virginia Farming, and it is my pleasure to welcome to our program this week Mr. Eugene Baer. He is with a company called Recycle Management, LLC. Eugene, your company is located in the Shenandoah Valley. I'm going to have you tell us about it in just a few moments and what you do associated with farmers on the topic of recycling. But first of all, tell me about yourself. How did you get involved with recycling?
Well, Jeff, thanks for having me on the show. The way that I got involved with recycling is, I was looking for a way to be involved with something that was important to me, and the environment is very important to me. Also, local business and local agribusiness is very important to me. I realize that strong agribusiness sector is what makes our country strong.
We're seeing a lot of trends in recycling, and of course with agriculture being the leading industry in the Commonwealth of Virginia, a lot of farmers are recognizing the importance of recycling things on their farm. Give me an idea of some things on a farm that could be recycled.
Well, anything on a farm that's made of metal could be recycled. Obviously the heavier items, old tractors, old trucks, roofs, things like that are going to bring you the most money. And also probably help you make your farm more environmentally friendly when you don't have a vehicle that's going to leak oil and other fluids on your property and your creek and other places.
I've been to a lot of farms over the past few years, and it seems like almost every farm has an area of the farm. It's generally out of sight, out of mind, but it's an area of the farm that there might be some rolls of old fencing that have been taken down, maybe some panels of sheet metal from a barn that came off in a storm. And the farmers might not realize that that pile of what they call junk metal is worth quite a bit of money. Sure.
And the shame is that if they let it sit there and rust, they're not going to get any return on it. And unlike having money in an interest-bearing account, it's not gaining any interest just sitting there. It's actually losing value. So with metal prices being strong like they are right now, it's a great time to recycle and put that money to work for you on your farm.
Speaking of metal prices, we have seen an upward trend in that regard over the past 5 years, so to speak. I know especially with copper and steel.
That's right. With the cost of acquisition of new materials from the ground never being higher than it is right now, recycling prices have went up in relationship to that. It's a lot more cost effective for individuals to reutilize those metals that are already mined, already refined, than it is to acquire new ones from the ground.
Tell me about Recycle Management, LLC, about the history of the company and about your location. I understand it has a direct tie with agriculture.
Sure. The company was founded over 10 years ago, originally in Shenandoah County. Several years later, they moved over to a poultry facility in Stanley, Virginia, that was taken out of service by the poultry company, and we now have our main recycling facility there. That's where we do all of our further processing, our shredding, and sort things for shipment to different smelters.
It's a big operation.
It's a good size operation, yes. We have approximately 50 employees working there at the plant, in addition to truck drivers that haul materials to and from the plant. It's almost like a big family there, but we all enjoy what we do.
Let me ask Amy Rocher, our director, to go ahead and bring on screen a video so our viewers at home can see what exactly you do with recycle management. Describe what we're seeing here.
Well, this is a typical farm. This was a poultry house, but around a lot of farms there's materials sitting around that are no longer being used and rusting. What we can do for those people is we can bring out a roll-off container that they can load as they have time to, or as they're trying to clean up a building or other project with tin roofing or different kinds of equipment that are no longer in use, fencing. And when they're done, they can call us and we'll send our truck back out to pick it up and we'll haul it away for them.
Well, everything from old barbed wire to beams, steel beams that might not be useful anymore. Now, what's happening here?
Okay, well, this is a facility over in Stanley that used to be a poultry facility and is now our main recycling center. That container that we pick up at the farm is going to be brought back. It's going to be weighed so that we know what to pay the farmer for his materials. It goes by the pound. And after we've established that, we then move those materials on to be processed. Some of them are going to have to be sorted. It's going to have to be shredded. It's going to depend on the material that we're given as to what we do with it. A lot of automobiles have parts that are not very recyclable, like tires, that we have to put through different processes. All the metal and different components are then shredded and sent to facilities that are going to remanufacture those and melt them down to be used again.
All right, and once again, this facility is located where?
In Stanley, Virginia. It was the old Alma poultry facility.
All right, and interesting story, Eugene, you told me before the show today is about the difference in prices between, let's say if somebody's got an old riding lawnmower, that's, you know, scrap metal, but they've got an old pickup truck, but maybe they've got an old farm truck, and I've seen a lot of those old farm trucks that are just kind of rusting away in a corner of a pasture. There's a big difference in prices in those.
Sure. The saying that they don't make them like they used to is very true. All those older vehicles are a lot heavier. Even, you know, given two trucks that are the same length, if it's an older truck, chances are it's going to be far heavier, just because the gauges of metal and the things that were put into that truck at that time, a lot of them are just heavier items.
So an old farm truck could be worth hundreds of dollars.
Most definitely, most definitely. You could expect to get well over $300 to $400 for an old farm truck.
Besides steel and scrap metal, give us an idea of what would be acceptable and what might generally be found on a farm that could be recycled with you.
Okay, many farms are homes just like the rest of us live in. In addition to equipment, they also have, you know, car batteries, truck batteries. We'll buy those after they've, you know, serve their useful purpose at someone's home. In addition to that, we'll also take electronics, computer equipment, and things that are probably found more around the home. Even something as worthless seeming as old pots and pans. Those are all things that we'll buy and pay cash for.
Wow. Now, the batteries, back to the batteries, you mentioned that. Once you get those batteries, what happens to them?
Okay, so a certain amount of those batteries are going to be in such bad condition that they're going to have to be completely broken down. The lead, the acid, the plastic, everything is going to have to be shredded and remanufactured into a new item. Now, some of the batteries that are in suitable shape and meet a certain standard can actually be put through an eight-step reconditioning process that will allow us to then turn those back out for resale at a much lower price back onto the market. So, you know, in addition to being able to bring us batteries, we're also a great source of reconditioned batteries.
Oh wow! I was not aware of that.
That's right. That's right. These reconditioned batteries can be bought for over 60% savings from a new battery. So there's significant money to be saved by using them.
Essentially a remanufactured battery that has the same power and longevity as a new battery.
It does. These batteries all come with a warranty, and they're all held to a certain standard as far as the amps and the amount of power that they're going to deliver.
Recycle Management LLC, would you be willing to work with some of the rural and agricultural groups? You know, there's always FFA and there's 4-H and young farmers organizations. They might see this as a way to raise money for their club or something. Talk a little bit about that and how you would work with them.
We'd be very excited to work with them, and it's a great way for them to raise funds. This is one of the few fundraisers where you don't have to have someone buy something from you, and you're actually able to do some good things for them on their farm. If one of these groups, the young people know a farmer that has some old fencing that he would like torn down, they can go and help him do that, and in return take that old fencing, that old barbed wire, old field fencing, and bring that into us, and we'll give them the regular price for that, and plus a little bit additional if they set it up through a fundraiser.
It sounds like your company is kind of a role model for working with the community and working with rural organizations. Why is that important to Recycle Management?
Well, we live and work in the community that we operate in, and the people there and the other businesses and citizens are all important to us. If we're going to have a strong community, a strong economy, we've got to look out for each other and do what's in the best interest.
I want to go back to something we saw in the video a little bit earlier, was about the on-site services that you provide. And once again, you're servicing essentially the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, although there are other companies and organizations that do the same elsewhere in the Commonwealth of Virginia. But on-site services, if I'm tearing down an old poultry house that's got a lot of aluminum, got a lot of steel, how can you help me?
Well, if you have a project that's a major project like that, the best thing to do is to call us and tell us what you're trying to do, and we'll send out the appropriate size container or containers to meet your needs.
All right. Trends in recycling. You know, 20 years ago or 30 years ago, it was just kind of a cool fad, you know, to recycle, and now it's almost it's just a way of life. It's an expectation that most consumers have. We recycle grocery bags. The kids are recycling all sorts of things these days. Where do you see this trend going with recycling?
Well, just as always, we have a finite amount of materials on our earth available for our use, and we have an increasing population and increasing demand. So with that, recycling is going to become even more important as time goes by. This is something that is going to continue to gain ground and pick up steam, and it's going to be essential if we want to have our factories supplied with the raw materials that they need.
I guess it's better to recycle it and keep it local, so to speak, than to import it from overseas.
Definitely. This whole recycling model we use is filled with nothing but wins. Wins for the farmer, wins for the business, wins for the community, and wins for the environment.
Talk a little bit more, and we've got just a couple of minutes remaining in the program, but a little bit more about the things on a farm that might be kind of out of the box. The farmer's not thinking, oh, could get a couple of $100 for that, and he'll even come pick it up. But tell me about some of the things.
Well, the more valuable things, if say we were talking about tearing down a building, if there's wiring in that building, wiring is made of copper, and it's very valuable. Copper almost always trades in excess of $3 a pound. And there's also things like things like aluminum. Aluminum is another more valuable metal. It's not just in our soda cans. It's a lot of times it's in roofing, it's in siding, and those are all items that are going to even bring even a higher payout than steel will.
And doing all of this, recycling this, actually employs a lot of local people in your situation.
Sure. Yeah, our Stanley facility, like I said, has approximately 50 people working there at all times. So we're a good sized employer for the county, for the community there.
We'll go ahead and put your web address on screen now. I believe it's recyclemanagementllc.com. When people visit that site, what will they find?
Well, they'll find a lot of information there about recycling in general. They'll find all of our contact information if they want to reach me or the company headquarters. They'll find all of those details. They'll also find links to our Facebook, where we continue to update and keep people aware of what we're doing, of new offerings and opportunities that might be there for them.
If you mentioned phone numbers, if people don't have internet access, and there's a considerable amount that don't,
Sure.
Can you provide a phone number for us?
Yes, the company headquarters is 540-778-2424.
Okay, and I know a lot of people were reaching for a pencil and piece of paper, so go ahead and repeat that number.
The company headquarters, again, the phone number is 540-778-2424.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on our program. A very important topic and a continuing trend that we see. And we talk about every day on the farm is Earth Day. Every day is a day that you should be considering recycling on the farm. Our special guest in this episode, Mr. Eugene Baer with Recycle Management LLC. I'll be back in just a moment with your Ag Calendar.